For 7 long years, Umuaka kingdom had no king. The palace courtyard was silent, its gates eaten by rust. The Ova, the sacred staff of kingship, lay untouched in the sacred hut, guarded only by cobwebs and the whispers of ancestors. The death of Egui Idu Iminaik had left a wound, and the wound had festered. Without a king, land disputes turned bloody, the markets fought over levies, and old grudges fled like dry grass in harmattan fire. But in the hearts of the people, the question burned. Who would take the throne? Umuaka's throne was not for just anyone. By the ancient laws, only the descendants of the 3 founding brothers, Uemi, Obioha, and Kemekolam, could ascend. Each lineage was proud, each had warriors, each had secrets. Behind the smiles at the Obi meetings, the men sharpened their ambition like knives. On a humid evening, the hunter Obina returned from the city of Onitsha. He carried his father's old spear and a bag of smoked antelope. His eyes were sharp, his shoulders straight. Unknown to most, Obina's blood carried the mark of Uemi, the firstborn founder. But his return was not for kingship. Not yet. He had come for his mother, and for answers about his father's strange death. Ndichi, elders, called for a meeting at the Obi. The oldest among them, Ichi no Okoye, spoke. When a tortoise sleeps too long, the ground will bury him alive. We must choose our king before the next New Yam festival. The announcement sent ripples across the kingdom. For some, it was hope. For others, war drums. At Ik market, tongues wagged like restless goats. Some said the late king's ghost had been seen near the sacred stream, shaking his head. Others swore that Chief Omenka, wealthy, cunning, and from Kemekolam's lineage, had been visiting elders with heavy bags of cowries and brown envelopes. Obina's mother went to consult a dibia, Ismio. His eyes were white as chalk when he spoke. The next king will be chosen not by blood, but by sacrifice. And that sacrifice will break the heart of the chosen one. She begged Obine to stay far from the palace. But fate, like a stubborn goat, would not be tied. One night, the body of Okafor, a strong contender from Kemekolam's lineage, was found at the foot of Ogwik Hill. His neck was broken. The village woke in shock. Fingers pointed in all directions. Vengeance brewed. The council gathered at Amedioha's shrine. Each contender swore they had no hand in Okafor's death. Obina stood tall as the priest placed the collar in his palm. But he noticed something. Chief Omenka's hands trembled, and sweat gathered on his brow despite the cool morning breeze. In the quiet shade of the mango tree, Adiz, the late king's daughter, called Obina aside. "Your father once saved my father in battle," she whispered. Before he died, the king swore that if ever your bloodline sought the throne, the ancestors would favor you. Obina's heart raced. This was no longer about curiosity. The trial of strength began. The wrestling arena filled with drums, ululations, and the scent of palm wine. Obine faced Egu, Omenka's giant of a son. The crowd gasped as the giant lifted Obina off his feet. But Obine twisted, planting Egu's back in the sand with the precision of a seasoned hunter. That night, Obine followed a strange humming into the sacred grove. Through the leaves, he saw Omenka kneeling before a masked figure, their voices low and urgent. The words that floated to Obine chilled his blood. The boy will not live to see the final trial. During the wrestling finals, the royal drums stopped mid-beat, a terrible omen. Elders exchanged uneasy glances. In Igbo land, when the drums stop without warning, it means the ancestors have turned their faces away. The trial of wisdom required the contenders to retrieve the king's lost brass gong from the forest at night. The path was treacherous. Owls screeched, unseen eyes watched. Obine moved like a panther, his father's spear in hand. Crossing Mary Ik, cold hands dragged him under. Under the shimmering water, a spirit woman with skin like moonlight whispered. "The throne will cost you your heart, Obina. Choose carefully." She let him go, and he surfaced gasping. Adi's uncles pressured her to marry Ego to secure power. She spat on the ground. "I will marry no man who rules by fear." Her defiance sparked fury in her family. At the elders' feast, Ichinoko chewed a kola nut and fell dead instantly. Panic tore through the hall. The kola bowl had been poisoned, but who would dare such a sacrilege? Obinna woke to the sound of a blade slicing his thatch roof. He fought off the masked assassin and pulled from his hand a royal bead, the kind worn only by the head of the council. Searching his father's old chest, Obinna found a scroll wrapped in goat skin. It read, "The one who holds the Ọfọ Nna Anyi with pure hands shall reign, even if the bloodlines rebel." The final trial demanded the sacrifice of one's most beloved possession. For Obinna, that was Adi's. When she was captured by Omenka's men, he faced an impossible choice: withdraw from the trial to save her, or let her die for the crown. Obinna's cousin, blinded by greed, sold his plans to Omenka. Blood is not always thicker than palm oil. As the Ofola festival began, dark clouds gathered. Lightning struck the sacred hut, splitting its roof. The elders murmured. The ancestors are restless. Word spread, Adi's was being held in the old slave quarters near Mko Square. Obinna prepared his spear. Disqualification meant nothing if she died. In the heart of the square, Obinna faced Omenka's warriors. He fought like the leopard of his nickname, striking swift and sure. The people watched, their hearts pounding. Ismio, the seer, appeared at the square. He pointed at the council head. "This is the masked one. This is the hand that stains Umuaka." The crowd roared in outrage. The Ọfọ Nna Anyi, staff of the ancestors, was placed before Amedioho's shrine. One by one, contenders lifted it and screamed as their hands burned. When Obinna lifted it, the staff glowed. The skies cleared. The wind died. The people fell to their knees, crying, "Egui! Egui Obinna!" In madness, Omenka charged with a machete. A bolt of lightning split the earth between them. He fell to the ground, trembling. A deep voice filled the air, the voice of the late king. "Umuaka is one. Protect her as you would your own child." On Coronation Day, Adi's gave Obinna a pendant once worn by her father. Let this remind you that the king and the people share one heart. Egui Obinna once sat on the throne, the Ọfọ in his right hand. The people danced, the drums thundered, and palm wine flowed like a river. The closing words echoed through the air. The king is strength, but the people are life. In Umuaka, they learned that the crown belongs not to the one with the loudest claim, but to the one whose hands are clean before men and gods. Ebe Ani Dora Kachi Equatoria. Where a man falls is where his God lifts him. They learned that greed builds a palace of sand, and deceit is a rope that strangles its owner. He who holds truth will return home safely. They learned that the spear of betrayal pierces deeper when thrown by family. It is the one who feeds the fish that eats it. They learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but stepping into the storm with steady feet. A warrior does not fear the wrestling match. And above all, that a king without his people is a bird without wings. The king is strength, but the people are life. So let Umuaka stand as a reminder that unity is the shield of the land, and destiny, once written, cannot be stolen. What God has written, no man can change. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more African stories.